We're going to try this again. We're talking about new additions to my Hot Wheels collection. And today we have the Hot Wheels Premium Nissan box set. We've got a Datsun 510 wagon, which the Datsun 510 was the small Nissan coupe and sedan. We'd call it roughly equivalent to today's Sentra or Versa. It was the sort of the entry-level sedan and coupe model. Of course, we have the infamous Fairlady Z, the 240, 260, 280 Z, first generation Z. We have a Nissan Laurel 2000 SGX. The Laurel was the mid-range Nissan Datsun of its era. I would say roughly akin to like a Stanza or a Altima. And then, of course, the Aerolift transporter truck, which I do not believe is actually a Nissan, but it comes in the set, and it's quite a set. The box, of course, is arranged to look like a garage or showroom, and there are several other Nissans in the back. I can definitely see a Hakosuka Skyline and some other models down there further back. Good looking set, a little bit pricey, as Hot Wheels go. When you talk about the benchmark being $1 a car for the regular models, but I like the set. As you know, I'm a severe Nissan fan. I've owned and driven Nissans for many years, and this is a good little addition to my collection, and I'm happy to have it. Now let's go through some of the standard cars that I picked up recently. I've got a Honda S2000. It's got Grady livery. It is somewhat hot rodded, and it is part of the Honda set. It is number 4 of 5 in the Honda set for, I assume these are for 2020. It might be a 2019. Let's look here and see. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to let it worry myself. I'm not going to let it worry me. Up next, Hot Wheel Exotics and Aston Martin 177. This, of course, was a concept car produced by Aston Martin. This one is red with a white stripe. Good looking car. Looks very much like the DB9 and DB7 of its era. A little more fanciful, but the same basic, long hood, short rear deck type look. Good looking coupe, as my friends in the United Kingdom would say. Up next, a Nightburners. This is a 1989 Mazda Savannah RX-7 FC3S, known here in the United States as a second generation RX-7. This was a good car. It's a car that I honestly considered owning, except for I have a built-in natural fear of rotary engines. We discussed that in the past, I think, about in my drift episode about rotary engines not tolerating overheating because it warps the apex seals or something, but whatever. The best way I could say it is when I was growing up, most of the towns I lived in, there was only one guy in each town that could fix rotary engines. And whenever you went by his shop, there were a slew of RX-3s and RX-7s parked outside his shop. And that's all I really needed to know. I didn't want a car that only one guy in town knew how to fix. But all the same, good looking car, classic 80s kind of long hood hatchback, small coupe in the mold of the 300ZX and Supra of the time. So your classic rear driver there. Okay, muscle cars. Let's talk about a 1984 Pontiac Firebird with the T-tops. The Firebird, particularly this generation of Firebird, the F-body. Were those F-bodies? J-bodies? Oh, crap. The Firebird and Camaro, the infamous Wonder Twins of GM. Firebird of this era was right in the middle of the Knight Rider era, so this car was getting a lot of time on TV in the guise of kit, and these were popular cars to have in that era. Fast for its time, which is faint praise, I guess, but You know, the pony cars of the mid 80s there were an interesting set because they all had their V8s, but smog regulations had choked the life out of these cars, and sequential electronic fuel injection was not at its peak at that point. So a lot of these cars had throttle body injections and minimal performance in stock form, to put it mildly. All the same, though, I have a lot of nostalgia attached to this car, and to me, the Pontiac Firebird is just a fixture of my childhood, I guess is the best way to say it, and a car that I look back very fondly on, although I would probably never own one. Up next, the 1986 Pontiac Monte Carlo SS. I knew a guy that owned one of these, and this car is again another relic of the 80s, but its twin, the Buick Regal, and the Monte Carlo SS sort of diverged. The Buick went with the turbo V6, and the Monte Carlo went with the small block Chevy. And you know, it was a muscly, again, fast for its time. It was sort of the street sleeper because it looked like your nondescript GM coupe, but it had enough power to sneak up on you if you weren't paying attention. And this one's got some interesting graphics on it, a little more than what you would see on the street on a regular basis. And of course, it had the fast back, glass back, whatever it was called. They made a modification to this car for the purposes of NASCAR racing, and the street versions of those glass back cars are very rare indeed. But this is a standard notchback, so far less rare. But again, a car that I have some nostalgia attached to from, in my case, the guy I knew owned this car in the early 90s. It was slightly vintage and retro even at that point when I was in high school. But again, I think Hot Wheels makes a lot of their money these days selling nostalgia to guys my age. So obviously I've fallen for that trap. Up next, Jaguar XE SV Project 8. What can I say? I'm a sucker for super sedans, especially when they're good looking like this one is. This is a good looking car. This is from the Factory Fresh group, and this was a 2019 model. It's 7 of 10 in the Factory Fresh set, but just a burnt orange Jaguar sedan with a nice large spoiler on the back, and just a good looking, I mean, if I could have one of these in real life as my grown-up car, I would definitely do that. Unfortunately, I don't make the kind of money, I don't make any money right now, but I don't make the kind of money that would let me drive a car like this as my anything, let alone daily driver. Moving on, the last one for this particular section. This is a Hot Wheels Premium Real Riders, number 4 or 5 in the Thrill Climber set. That is a grouping of off-road and rally cars and hill climbers. The Volkswagen IDR, the Lancia 037, the Porsche 9345, the Ford RS200, and the Audi Sport Quattro. So the Lancia 037, which was not really a street car, the Lancia 037 loosely resembles the Lancia Beta Monte Carlo, but was in fact just a collection of tube frames and a supercharged 4-cylinder engine in the back, and it was built to go rallying. It was sort of a throwback to the Lancia Stratos, where there was a car that was designed to be a rally car and was not really ever intended for street use. The 037 was the last real two-wheel drive car of the Group B era. You could argue that the Renault R5 may have been the last rear-wheel drive, but in any case, the 037 was nasty and it was fast, especially on tarmac stages, but it was immediately supplanted by the Audi Quattro and the Peugeot 205 T16, both of which were four-wheel drive. So it had a brief shining moment, and then it faded into obscurity. But it's a sexy machine. I've seen one of these in person at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it makes all the right noises, and it is it's a very interesting look. And I think they did a few of these as Group 4 or Group 5, I guess Group 5 road race cars, but for the most part, the 037 is known as a rally car, the last two-wheel drive car of the Group B era. So, hope you enjoyed it. As always, will continuously be adding to my Hot Wheels collection, so there will be periodic updates. Thanks for checking out Cocktails and Crankshafts, and we'll see you again real soon.